Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to all of you who've joined the webinar already. Seeing some additional folks coming in. Uh, Thank you all for taking the time to join this session, and I hope that we will have a valuable session for you at the end of which we will, hopefully get some feedback and comments or questions from you as well. So let's get started. Today's session is streamlining work management for competitive advantage, aligning your people, processes, and technology for success. Uh, this is a new series that we are starting, which is about helping teams and organizations streamline their work management and project management processes so that we can. I just want to make sure that I can be heard and seen. I see some. Hey, Bill, good to see you. Thanks for joining in. Uh, just want to make sure that my slides are visible. Uh, So this is a new series, like I was saying, and what we are trying to do here is to really share our experience over the last 2 decades of how some of the most nimble and mature organizations organize themselves for managing their work effectively, managing their projects effectively, and what are some of the things that are needed in order to be effective at rolling out solutions that you might in terms of managing your projects and work. So this is an effort to share our lessons. It's an effort to share some of the products that we offer in different parts of the overall value chain, and hopefully learn a lot from you as we go along. So let's get started with some housekeeping and the agenda, and we'll go from there. So we'll start with some introductions. I'll give you a quick introduction to Nimble Work if you're not familiar with the work that we do. And then we get on to the main session of which is the streamlining work management for competitive advantage. And at the end, we will hopefully have a good Q&A session and uh, share our experiences. Just some housekeeping. The session is being recorded, and we will make a copy of the recording available to you after the webinar. Um, we'll take questions throughout the session using the Q&A box. And if you'd we can also get you on the call to speak up and share a question or a comment. And we'll do that at the end of the session. And With that, let's just get started. So let me introduce to you our main presenter, our main expert on the session today. That's Mano Cherian. Mano is VP of Business Development at Nimblework and been probably my favorite colleague in the company for his expertise and his wisdom and his experience with the variety of different customers that we have interacted with, rolled out our products to, and his immense amount of knowledge that comes in terms of what is really needed to run a project organization successfully. Uh, my name is Mahesh Singh, and I'm a co-founder and I run marketing at Nimblework. I've also been fortunate to work with a wide range of customers, especially in Europe and the Americas, helping them roll out either lean, agile, Kanban type of frameworks, and also, of course, implementing our own products. And in that process, understanding what makes them successful in terms of managing their work and their projects. So together we will cover this session. Mano, welcome to you.
Hi, good morning to all of you, and happy to be here in this session.
Wonderful. So before we get started, let me just give you a quick background on Nimblework. So Nimblework, we've been a pioneer in a web-based project and work management solutions and products for more than 2 decades, as I mentioned. We are headquartered in Cupertino, California, which is where I'm based. Mano is based in Bangalore, and we have customers around the world, especially in India and in the Americas, but also, of course, Europe and other parts of the world as well. You'd like to learn more about our company and solutions, please feel free to look at nimblework.com. Just a quick introduction to our overall product portfolio, where we cover sort of the end-to-end value stream of how you might initiate a new engagement or a new initiative, and how you might then deliver it, and then continue to support it, once the project or the work has been delivered. So we have products that help you define and manage and socialize the overall strategy that you might have from portfolio management perspectives or OKRs. We then link that up to the actual delivery of these initiatives through projects and program management capability, which follow any kind of method that you might have, whether it's traditional or agile or a mix of both, like a hybrid agile method. And then we have other multiple capabilities that let you manage ongoing work, whether you're a marketing team, whether you're an IT organization, whether you're a project organization. You can manage all of that in our products. We talk a little bit more about that during the session. Um, and just a quick look at some of our customers. You might see some familiar names and maybe some not so familiar ones. We have, over 1 million plus users of our products, and we've helped our customers implement very small teams to enterprise-wide rollouts of our solutions. In the process of which they have automated or redefined or improved their project management methods and their structures that help them really deliver their services and value to their customers. So we've had really rich experience in doing so, and that's really what this series is going to be all about. So with that, let's start a quick discussion on the actual needs of organizations in terms of organizing for success. And so a couple of more slides on this topic. And so this is really when we were starting to plan this series, we were really looking at what is it that we have so far learned and seen, and what are some of the key things that our customers put in place in order to be really effective and successful. So firstly, our lessons and our overall experience comes from this variety of different organizations, projects, and different functions that run projects within these organizations. So whether they are IT services or automotive companies or retail companies, healthcare, banking and finance, etc. Um, One of the key things that we do, especially for anything which is a more mature organization, is that we stay engaged with them to help them roll out the solutions that we implement or we provide, so that we get to learn at first hand in terms of what are some of the teams and people involved from their side in defining how the rollout would be, how it would get adopted, and then what are some of the support and capabilities that they provide, so that individual project teams, project managers, and scrum masters, all kinds of roles in the company who are involved in product development, digital app development, etc., how they can be more effective and more successful in doing the work that they do. Is across business units or lines of business. So it might be a single organization, a single North American unit, for example, or it could be a global rollout of these solutions. And of course, besides just rolling out basic work management or project management capability, we have typically integrated with a variety of different in-house or third-party systems that they might have, whether it is data warehouses and reports and dashboards, whether it is people management solutions, which manage people and demand and capacity planning type of applications, financial systems, service and support systems, etc. So when we work with our customers, we really deliver an overall solution, not just a point solution. And like I said, we have really done this around the world, so we have exposure to different kinds of customers. And these lessons come from sort of a multitude of different settings. The kinds of projects that our customers do, it could be a complete company or a product rebranding that is being led by the marketing organization. These customers could be a new automotive product. We have customers who have in Europe and in India, where we have seen automotive product designs being managed using our products. Launching new digital apps, that's a very common aspect of any digital transformation initiatives that companies are running, building new digital apps using our agile capabilities. Revamping a full retail network. This is an example of a very large retail organization in South America that completely revamped during the time of COVID, from being a physical organization to being a virtual retail organization within a span of 6 to 9 months. using some of the portfolio and upstream Kanban capabilities that we provided to them. So just a wide range of projects that have been done, and through which we have seen again firsthand how companies organize themselves in terms of success in projects. So, what are some of these things that we see? What are some of the things that successful organizations do in order to retain a competitive edge? These are some of the things that we have seen, and Mano and I have discussed this. We've seen this at multiple settings. One of the key things, of course, is that at an enterprise level, at a or at least at a business unit level, whichever is the level of the organization that is focusing on this, there is a strong culture of project excellence, high quality of value delivery, and great amount of focus on customer satisfaction. So there is a clear understanding that the work that they do, the projects that they deliver, are of critical importance, corporate critical success factors that the companies set for themselves. They're critical for those in terms of delivering value, in terms of improvement overall within the organization. And therefore, there is a very strong focus on making sure that these projects get done effectively and successfully. The second aspect of it is, of course, that there is a level of effort that is made to streamline and standardize some amount of project governance, so that while you're not you don't dictate to everybody how they should do their projects, but there is a basic set of standards or capabilities or templates that are provided to organizations so that they can use them rather than having to do everything from scratch. And so these could include workflows which are defined at the organization level, customized at the team level. It could mean defined traditional or agile or hybrid project delivery models, which teams can reuse to begin with, standardized metrics and reporting. Just examples of that. In today's session, we will cover some of these as we look at some of the examples that we have for you. There's also a very strong focus on people, right? So making sure that their skills and development are being managed on a continuous basis, so that they continue to stay motivated and challenged in terms of what work they do, and then matching the work that they do to the skills they have or where they want to be, and as part of demand and capacity planning is a key aspect of how they make sure that they have the right people working on the right projects or work at any point in time. And of course, supporting all this is a governing organization which could be made of multiple teams. In most companies, you might have a PMO that runs all of these functions. You might have other functions supporting them, such as the IT organization or a quality organization or an agile center of excellence, etc. And we'd love to see what other types of teams or structures you've seen in your organization settings when we get to the Q&A session. And of course, all of this then it gets supported by a either an out of the box or a tailored technology solution, such as what we provide at Nimble, that helps them implement these best practices that then enables teams to deliver these projects successfully. So with that background, let me just get ready to hand over to Mano. What we will cover as part of the presentation that Mano has is show you how you can set up for just basic project governance using a process template that Nimble provides, and what are some of the things that go in terms of defining that process template. So let me stop sharing my screen, Mano, here, and again, welcome, and I will let you take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Mahesh. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So, keeping in mind what Mahesh just shared, what I would like to highlight is how the Nimble solution has helped organization to set up an infrastructure that has enabled them to deliver their work, their projects successfully, both from a timeline perspective, from a cost perspective, and from a quality perspective. I would like to take through this session by taking into account a customer who worked very closely with us. a customer who grew rapidly, who was able to scale up rapidly, who didn't have any system in place, but they realized the need of a system when they scaled up, and how they were able to take some steps that basically helped them to improve significantly. So this customer of ours is a customer that is into design and manufacturing of new products. They had multiple trackers, they had Excel-based templates, they had standalone systems in place, and all their projects and programs were being managed using all these different types of tools and technologies in place. But it so happened they introduced new service offerings, new portfolios, new products, and as a result of that, they started scaling up rapidly, which resulted in execution of multiple new product development related projects, which was primarily being delivered to their customers. Now, it was very important for them to, one, make sure that the projects are profitable, the projects are delivered on time, the projects are delivered with the required quality. And achieving this was a challenge for them. And that is when they reached out to us. We worked very closely with them and we identified a lot of areas where improvement is required. Now, when you're having multiple projects, you need the ability to consolidate data and see which projects, which initiatives are working well, which needs management attention, and so on and so forth. So we identified that there was no system in place where they were able to enforce compliance of best practices, methods, and processes. There was a lack of multiple departments were involved in a large program. So there was a lack of visibility across the stakeholders within this department in terms of what is the ultimate objective of the product which they are developing. So there was a lack of visibility, and hence work was getting executed without getting into the actual context behind that work. Data was residing in multiple systems across multiple teams, across multiple departments, and it was very difficult to consolidate all of this data in a timely manner and see how things are going well. Utilization of resource was a challenge, and also the ability to proactively identify milestones or projects that are going to get into the danger zone, and that to do that you need to have an effective risk and an issue management process. So that was also a challenge. So keeping an account of all these challenges, the customer took some immediate steps, small steps, which they implemented over a period of time using our platform as a base. And as a result of that, they have been able to bring in significant improvement and improve their ability to deliver projects on time, within the required budgets, and so on and so forth. So some of the things which they took as a result of the challenges which we identified is they improved their project definition and project setup process. They were able to set up workflows. They had a mechanism through which the scope could be defined and communicated to all stakeholders who are involved in that project. They were able to implement a methodology where what needs to be done in a specific project, like say for example, it could be designing an electronic component, or it could be purchasing a large infrastructure equipment from an external vendor. So what are the best practice steps that is recommended by the organization? That was getting now automatically generated for the project team. So as long as they complied to those steps, they are adhering to a best result. And this was in a result bringing in consistency across all project teams. So they were able to plan a specific activity based on best practices and standards that was recommended by the transformation office. People management, they leverage the capabilities of the platform to ensure that resources with the right skill was assigned to the project to perform specific activities. They were able to ensure that resources were brought into the project at the required time. So there was not a case where a resource was just waiting for tasks to be assigned to him. When he gets into a project, he gets a task immediately and starts working on that. And then they were able to implement a structured method in which governance on programs and projects through dashboards, through effective management of change, through effective mitigation of risks and resolution of issues. They were able to bring in a far more mature, robust governance mechanism. So these were the initial infrastructure components which they implemented across their programs and projects. And then over a period of time, they expanded with more capabilities. And as a result of that, I will share with you some metrics they have been able to improve significantly. Now, how does Nimble help you do all of that? So if you look at the first challenge which they had that was related to compliance of methods and processes, the Nimble application allows you to set up templates for different types of engagements, templates for different types of activities. If you recall in the presentation which Mahesh shared, he talked about changing the corporate brand to building a new automotive product. So for each of these different types of activities within the Nimble framework, you will be able to set up templates. And there are a lot of things that can be done in this template. And I would just like to focus on few of them. So the first one is you will be able to, for a specific type of activity that needs to be executed, you will be able to set up a structure of uh, the typical tasks and activities that needs to be performed. Now, this is purely based on best practices and standards and methods, which is being followed by the organization to handle the large volume of projects which they are executing. But we provided that framework. So what it basically meant is you can make it as simple, you can make it as workflow centric, process centric as possible. But what we allow you to do is you can set up the various stages of your project. Within each of these stage, you will be able to set up the various types of activities that needs to be performed and the sequence in which these activities needs to be performed. You can call out milestones that needs to be planned at each of these stages. So some of them will have milestones. You can basically call them out. And then we also provide an advanced capability wherein you can set up dependencies between these activities. Like you can say that I will only start creating my test plan when the requirements has been signed up. So you will be able to go to that level of granularity. So what this would do is this is something that is typically that is getting configured or set up by the PMO team. It could be the transformation team. It could be the execution excellence team who wants to bring in standards and best practices into the way in which people are working. So you will be able to set the teams will be able to set up these framework, and when a project gets created, this framework will get inherited into their project workspace. Now, there are a lot of flexibility and variability which we provide in the Nimble system. See, for example, by default within the Nimble application, we provide templates for different types of activities. Now, this is purely based on our experience. We have been in the industry for 20 years. We have serviced multiple customers. All the implementations were done by our own teams. And as a result of that, we have been able to gain a lot of knowledge and learning, and that we have translated it into default templates. So if you're into product development, we have default templates available. If you're in a part of a marketing organization, we have default templates available. If you're part of the operations team, we have default templates available. So for each of these default templates, we have configured the standard set of default tasks and workflows that can be used. So which means that if you want to onboard to the tool, you don't have to worry about, oh, I don't have that framework in place. That framework is available out of the box. You can use that framework. And if you want to tweak it further based on your feedback, which you're getting from your end users, based on the metric requirement or the reporting requirement that you have. If you want to further tweak it, you can tweak it and create your own templates, which has your own best practices, your own way of execution, which is your differentiator. That can be institutionalized through this framework. Now, how does this represent in a project? Okay, so you can see that you have the ability of setting up different types of process for a product development initiative. You can set up different types of processes. When I go to a project, I just would like to quickly show you how it basically gets translated in the context of a project. All that the project team will have to do is, if they say, for example, they have to set up a task plan for building a new electronic component. I'm just taking that example. All they need to do is add a new task plan, and they can then choose from the available published set of default tasks or processes which one is applicable for that specific engagement. So you can get a catalog of default tasks which is based on the nature of work that needs to be executed, and you can basically choose from that. And once that has been selected, what it would do in the Nimble system for the project teams is it will translate into a plan, as you see over here. So it will automatically create your phases, your sub phases, tasks and activities. It will generate a Gantt chart if you are interested in looking at a Gantt chart. So all of this gets institutionalized. So governance is all about giving direction to project teams, how they need to plan and execute. And that framework infrastructure basically gets created using the Nimble system. Now, apart from setting up your work breakdown, your task structure, your set of default tasks, grouping them under stages and phases, or you can have any other such dimensions. There are a little bit more, a lot more configurability that is supported in the template. Like, say, for example, if your team wants to set up a visual workflow, they want to drive their execution through a visual workflow, saying that any task that comes to me, these are the 4 steps, these are the 5 steps that needs to be, or this is the standard workflow that I want to get it institutionalized across my team. Then we do provide a framework where you can set up different types of workflows, visual workflows, which can be used for various types of activities that is being planned in the project. And again, this is available out of the box. This can be further tweaked and modified based on your project specific requirement. Now, when it comes to a project, there are various types of activities that you may want to track. You may want to track risks. If I don't track risks, it can have an adverse impact on the outcome of the project. Issues. If I don't track issues on time, again, it can have an impact on the overall performance of the project. So what we let you do is, what is the best practice template that needs to be used for defining a risk? What is the workflow that needs to be used for mitigating the risk? And what are the various notifications that needs to be triggered so that the relevant stakeholders are alerted about a specific risk or issue? All of that can be set up in the template. And again, it is all about setting the direction to the team as far as governance is concerned. So that is made available in the application. Now, let me take you to one specific example. If you just look at the challenges which I have mentioned over here, visibility on scope and objectives, and if you look at one of the steps which our team took up, our customer took up, is created a framework where the scope and objectives of the project gets clearly defined or articulated. So if I just take an example over here, so what our customer was able to do was they were able to set up a charter document where the objective of the project was clearly defined. And along with the objective, you are setting up, okay, what are the milestones the customer is asked for in this engagement? What are the deliverables that needs to be worked upon? What are some of the key assumptions the team needs to consider so that these assumptions may not go off track and create an issue in the project? and what are the risks that I need to look into, and what are the benefits which the customer is expecting from that specific engagement. So this, you can set up templates to define this. This gets notified to all project teams. So like I gave you in this example, there is a program where multiple departments are involved, and if a particular department head gets a task, he has clear visibility on why the task is getting executed. That task is needed for a specific deliverable, the task is needed for a specific milestone. You will also be able to see cross departmental dependencies on deliverables and milestones. So all of that gets into the picture through this template, and it is all available in the system. You don't have to waste time in countless meetings to determine this, or even try to find it out at the end of the project when it has been delivered to the customer. So all of this is baked into the system. It can be set up so that you will be able to provide visibility to various stakeholders who are involved in your projects. So we looked at two important aspects: the aspect of setting up your default tasks based on standards and practices. We looked at the aspect of setting up various types of templates for your for a specific type of engagement. These templates can be used for tracking your work, tracking your scope, tracking your risk and issues, tracking your changes, and so on and so forth. And we also looked at the aspect, the third dimension we looked at is how workflows can be set up and how these workflows can be used by these can be standardized across projects of similar type. But the most important part is when it comes to governance, how do I govern the project? What are some of the views? What are the dashboards or reports or notifications that needs to be set up in the tool? The default set of dashboards that will show me how my project is progressing, what are some of the risks in the project, which are the issues that is aging, which if I don't close is going to have an impact on the outcome of the project. So all of this we will be able to set it up at the template level using the configuration framework. And once this has been done, what you're basically doing is you're providing a best practice recipe to your project teams. And you will be able to set up these, you can set up one template, two template, three templates. You will be able to set it up based on the organization. And you don't have to make it stringent. You don't have to push it to teams. It is just a best practice recipe. And if the teams follow that best practice recipe, the teams can be sure that the likely outcome of the project is going to be successful. So with that, what I will do is let me just log in. So as a result of that, now what happens is, let me just give you a couple of views over here. So let me just log in as a project manager and go to a different project. So give me a minute. So if I come here, you will be able to see that all that I have set up in the template flows into the project when a project has been created using that specific template. So let it be the workflow that I have configured. Uh, as you can see here, the workflow automatically flows into the project, and that can be used for tracking your deliverables, your milestones, and the execution of work. The team members gets allocated into the project. So we have a mechanism where you will be able to identify teams based on the availability dates and based on skills, and you will be able to identify resources who are really available and can contribute to your project. So effective management of people is we will be able to do that. And what is more important is all your templates will flow to the project, which can be used by project teams. And as a result of that, there are various views that can be automated through the system, which can be used for governance and progress tracking of the project. So you will be able to see risks that are aging. You will be able to see your inflow of issues over a period of time. So in which stage am I getting most of my issues? So all of these views basically will get automatically generated as a project is progressing. You don't have to spend time in collecting data, which was one of the challenge which our customer had. You don't have to spend time in collecting data. All of this will get automatically created and be made available for the project teams. So this is exactly what our customer did. They set up a workflow for setting up projects and defining the goals and the objectives. They set up a mechanism wherein which you can have an integrated set of tasks that can be used by various departments, come to a common place and execute them and track the progression of the project. Effective utilization of people, identifying people with the right skills and allocating them to a project at the right time. And then all the governance reviews, the aspect of tracking your risks and issues and changes, all of these got automated in the initial stage of the implementation. And later we went on building more, implementing more, processes and capabilities for them. Now, as a result of this is the benefit which our customer has been able to realize. They have been able to improve their ability to estimate projects by 80%. This was significant because in new product development, they do take government contracts where bidding is very important. And at the time of bidding, you need to estimate. So they were able to estimate far more accurately and give a realistic quote for a specific engagement. They have been able to improve the project completion on time by 60%. So from a stage where all projects were getting delayed for whatever reasons and penalties were getting applicable for whatever reason, they have been able to improve it, and they are improving further. And they have also been able to improve the productivity of team members and project managers by 75%. Now, this was significant because using the same team, they were able to scale up and manage more projects at the same time. So, Mahesh, that's a quick overview on how Nimble Enterprise, the Nimble solution, will help you set up an infrastructure for effective project governance and reviews.
Thanks, Mano, and very impressive numbers from our customers. Folks on the call, Mano and I worked together on this at the end. I mean, after the rollout had been completed, we worked together on this case study, and the customer representative, I think, is a VP of engineering at the organization. Um, his feedback to us was just filled with superlatives, and it was really heartening and impressive to see how they had been able to better organize. They were already perhaps a very good engineering organization, and obviously doing very well in the market, but using the overall solution capabilities, as well as, of course, uh, you know having sort of the basics in place of how to organize their entire delivery capability, resulted in the kind of benefit that they got. You can see examples of these here. Um, so what we've shown here, you here today, is sort of the basics of how you might set up a basic governance structure, which includes, of course, the overall, let's say, plan for a project. Now, the project might or might not be waterfall. It could be waterfall or agile. So while it might look like it's a very waterfallish approach, any project has a plan, right? Any project has a structure where you start from initiating the project, planning it, to delivering it. And whether the project is being executed using traditional methods or agile methods, that overall project plan remains in place. And that's really what we help you set up. So these templates can be very sophisticated in terms of the way that they get defined, and all of the building blocks that Mano showed you, whether it is the overall project plan, or it is the different workflows and the different types of activity that you track, risks or issues or action items, etc. Um, or is the overall board workflow, the value stream that you want to follow as work gets completed throughout the course of the project. And finally, of course, he showed you the metrics and dashboards. This is something that we've seen most teams sort of struggle with in terms of managing in different environments. And what we really help them to do is to put it all together in a single place. It doesn't need to all get done in a single go. You can start small and then build up as you sort of improve your overall project delivery capability and the maturity with which the teams are able to utilize the system. Or you can go, if you're already there, you can set up everything all together. So hopefully you guys got a value out of this, and we'd like to take some questions. I already see a few questions that have come up, but feel free to ask questions using the Q&A, and we would love to respond to those. Mano, let me ask you a couple of questions that have come up in the meantime. So one is, who are the teams that typically interface with us when they are defining the overall rollout plan or the governance structure? What is the typical structure of such a team?
So I mean, it varies from the type of customers we deal with. But what we have seen is it is the PMO, enterprise PMO team. It is the enterprise transformation team.
Mhm.
In some cases, we have also seen the strategy team getting involved with us because they have defined some strategic initiatives and processes, and they wanted to get that implemented through a system like ours so that it is easily adoptable across the organization. And of lately, we have seen the execution excellence or the delivery excellence team also
Right.
engaging with us to define the requirements, just to define the methods and the steps. And then when it comes to usage, everyone who needs to work on a task or who needs to be part of a workflow will use our system.
Right. And just to add to that, at least what we have seen, especially in the US context, has been that there is typically a sort of center of excellence type of a structure that is defined. So besides the PMO, which is typically the front and center organization that's responding to these kinds of activities or initiatives, the centers of excellence, whether it is an agile center of excellence or a product design center of excellence or a services design, etc., they are the people who support and define the overall needs for a project governance capability that they need to set up at the organization level. There is a follow-up to that, which is, what is the typical structure of the role of the PMO? So let me take that in terms of what we have seen. Manu, please feel free to add.
Sure.
Um, we've seen multiple probably ways in which PMOs get structured. And so, firstly, we've seen two types of uh, reporting structures. One is where the PMO reports to a finance or a corporate restructuring or a corporate improvement or a corporate strategy type of an organization. And the other is where the PMO reports into the IT organization, so to the CIO, etc. So in terms of their overall function, they might be similar, but just where they roll up to might be different. And the second part of it is that uh, in the way that they are chartered to, in terms of their tasks, they might have full sort of control in terms of what are some of the templates that the organization needs to follow. What are some of the checks and balances that they have, like milestone and phase related reviews and controls, exit entry and exit criteria for different phases, etc. So they can get very structured to being very supportive, where they are providing the reporting and measurement support to project teams. But in general, it is the project team that is in charge, and they are, of course, which is of course always true, and they draw on the help of the PMO as and when needed. Um, in terms of the way that the process templates themselves get defined, we've seen both a top-down or a bottom-up approach. Teams might do projects, and if the projects go very well, they provide these projects as examples that then get structured into a template that other teams can reuse. And of course, the other, which is more typical, is that the PMO or the main governing team will come up with some initial recommendations on what these templates should be and what are the different types of templates that a team might have. And then teams might then use those templates and modify them based on their own requirements. Um, any additional thoughts on the PMO structure, Mano?
No, there are no additional. What you have highlighted is correct. So, but the last point which you just mentioned, that is an important point, wherein, say, for example, if there is a team that has done execution well using some kind of a unique workflow, then
Mhm.
the system has the ability wherein you can templatize that best practice and give it to other projects within the organization. So it is a top down plus a bottom up approach which we have put into the system, so that even if there is a team who has done something really good, and if you want that to be institutionalized across the organization, it can be done through the platform.
It can be done through the system. Perfect. Yeah. There's one other question, and in fact, since you mentioned the template, there's a question about how long does it take to set up these templates? They appear very complex, but typically, what is the kind of lead time to build these templates?
Yeah. So I'll answer that in two parts. The first one is, if there is a customer who wants to start using our system, they can be quickly onboarded using our default templates. And our default templates are rich enough. It is purely based on our experience across these past 20 years. So you can quickly get onboarded without even getting into defining a template. You can use our default template to kickstart your project, and then probably over a period of time refine it further. That is the first part. The second part is when it comes to defining a template, which is something very unique to a specific organization. It can be done. The time is not taken in configuring and setting up the template. That can be done in a couple of days' time. The time is taken in defining the content and how that content should be represented in the template. So if the workflow details, the task details are available, and if it is clearly defined and articulated, then it is just a matter of days that is required to set up those templates.
Awesome, awesome, great. Uh, Looks like there are no other questions, so I guess we will wind up here. Let me share my screen so folks on the webinar have our contact information. Um, Let me make sure that you have that covered. Okay. So today we covered as part of the project governance some of these things that Mano just presented to you. In the next session, we will take up some of the other aspects of how organizations set themselves up for being top and front and center in terms of competition. And we will come back to you next Tuesday with the next session. In the meantime, if you have any additional suggestions or questions for us or topics that we should cover, please do feel free to connect with us. And we hope to see you in the next webinar next Tuesday. Thank you so much. Thanks, Mano. And
Thank you.
we'll bye bye.